Okay, so what we did, we have that line on this paper. We set this paper over. We traced it on there very light, so we have an equal distance from here to here and an equal distance from here to here. So we got it basically centered. And we'll turn this on, make it a little bit brighter. I don't know if that helps or hurts. All right, so that's step A. Here is what this is going to turn into. And it's a good news, bad news thing. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. So here's the bad news first. The bad news is that looks like something really hard to draw. And for some people it will be. The good news is you're not those people. Okay, this is going to be relatively easy for you to do in here. Okay, so here's the deal. That line that you just drew, this is to help you get the size right, the length. So that's the distance from here to here. It goes along the back and up here. It does not have any of the fins on it or anything like that right now. It's just to get you started so that we don't have little teeny short sharks or really long sharks. And hopefully we don't have a great big fat shark on here. But we're going to find out here in just a second. So that's the first line. The next line you actually have to freehand a little bit. So I'm going to turn my paper this way. I'm going to raise this up a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm following that line that I hooked that around. And I'm going to bring it back about 3/4 of the distance. I'm going to make this a little darker so you can see it. Okay, now, you see that? That belly's not clear down here. It's not a pregnant shark with like quadruplets in it. Okay? It's not a goldfish. It doesn't come down here like this. It's not pencil thin either, like an anorexic shark. But I only brought that line to about right here. Okay? So here's halfway. Here's a little past halfway. So if you divide it in half, it's just a little past halfway. Melody, I need you to do your own drawings. Okay. Okay. All right, so here we go. We're going to go over here and do the rest of this. This is where the tail starts, so I'm going to come to the tail. I'm going to put some space between here and here because that's going to be the base of my tail, and I'm going to go kind of skinny, and I'm looking where I want to go. So I'm starting here, and I'm looking where I want to go, and I'm bringing it over, bringing it over, bringing it over, and slowly matching it up so it blends right in to where I stopped over here. What you don't want to do is, I'll show you. We have this line going across here and this coming up here, and we come along here. You don't want to come along here and go like this and connect it up like that, okay? It should look like a natural blend from wider to skinny right here. If you got a hard angle right here, it's going fat and then all of a sudden goes skinny, you need to come back there and make it look more like a natural blend. And on the end, I'm going to put the bottom part of the tail by just angling this line down and out. This should be slightly shorter than this one up here. So if I bring that up, long, slightly shorter. And I can even make that a hair longer and still be all right. Because they have pretty big tails. The what? You need to follow that upper line and then just bring it back into it like that. Okay. Does anybody else have any trouble getting this to connect? If you do, bring it to me real quick right now. I'll fix it. If not, we're going to just move on. Okay, the next part we're going to do is actually the tail itself. We're just kind of getting an outline going all the way around our shark. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to curve my line and end right here. So to make this an easy curve, I'm going this way, curving it up, knowing that I'm going to end up here and come to a point. Okay, like that. That's all there is to it. A nice curve from this point to that point. Now, if I have that on there like this and this, don't come on here and go like that. It's not a great big wide fat one. Okay, and then you don't want to go too close to it and have a little skinny one. Okay, it's just a nice curve from this point to that point. That's all we're trying to do. And I got to keep my lines kind of light, because if I need to erase or I need to change something, I don't want to have it be too dark. Kind of the rule that we keep all along. All right, it's time to add another fin. What makes a shark stand out from any other fish generally in the water? That big dorsal fin, yeah, Raleigh's right. The big dorsal fin's what does that. So on this finished shark right here, okay, that's this big fin right here. It's not right in the middle of the shark. It's not right here in the middle. It's a little bit left of the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure with my pencil. Watch what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to take a look and go, okay, so that's that far. That's the back of the fin. I'm looking here. So that's still a little bit left of center. So if you can kind of eyeball where the middle of your shark is, you can measure it with your pencil and go, all right, let's see if this is the middle. Okay, that's not quite the middle. The middle is back here, so I measure it again. Go like that. Like that. I'm getting closer. That's about where the middle of the shark is. This is way over here further, okay? So my fin needs to come in front of that. So I'm just going to let it come gradually up and then back down. So I'm going to bring it up here. I'm going to come up a little ways and curve them back. So it's a natural, like a slippery slide. Just kind of comes down at the bottom, blends into the shark, and comes up. I'm not drawing it way up here at the top of my page. I'm not drawing a little bit tiny one. Coming right up here. It's about inch and a half tall. And then instead of going down like this, I'm going to come from down here and curve this back up this way and stop right there. I'm not going to connect them. So just do that for right now. Draw the first line and then bring the other one up. I could draw that a little bigger and it would still be all right, but I don't want to draw it any smaller than that, or it's going to look all out of proportion. If you draw yours and you look at it and go, oh man, that looks way too big, well, you're probably right, so just erase it and make it smaller. If you draw it and you go, that looks way too tiny, well, then maybe make it a little bit bigger. Learn to trust yourself. Learn to trust your senses on this stuff. Because usually your brain will say, oh, that's too big or that's too small. And you can have your little Goldilocks moment and go, oh, I need to fix this, okay? Now it's just right. That's your Goldilocks moment. All right, so right here I'm going to zoom this in so you can see what I'm doing on this fin. I did not connect it. I don't want to point on it. I'm just going to round it off and connect it now to that other side. So it's rounded off. I just don't want a needle sharp point on it. I'm just taking the point off and just kind of rounding the corners, what I'm doing, okay? Now, provided that we have our dorsal fin, this big one right here, left, that means over here from the center, which is right here, this is the middle, provided it's left of that, it gives us a guideline where to put some other fins. If we have it right in the middle or we have it to the right of the middle, our other fins are all going to be screwy and out of place. That's why it's really important that this is kind of left of the middle. So the next fin I'm going to put on there, because I can use it as a reference, is I'm going to put this, the pectoral fin, on there. If you look, the back of that pectoral fin, if I drew it all the way up, comes up and would land right there in almost the middle, or right around the middle of my dorsal fin. The front of the fin I'm going to curve, and if it went all the way up, it's going to be in front of it. It's not going to be touching it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to get in front where the front of my fin's going to go. So I'm coming to the left of my dorsal fin, and I'm going to just put a light line just curving along. I'm just going to curve it. I'm not going to make a very dark line at all. Up here, I don't even need the line. I'm just kind of doing it down here so my hand's going in the right direction. So I'm curving along. I'm bringing it down below the body. And then I'm going to look up here and go, okay, I know it comes around the middle. So I'm going to curve along here. I'm not going to draw it all the way up. I'm just getting my hand going in the right way. I'm going to bring that down. And just like I did on the top fin, I'm going to round it off down here because I don't want it to be a sharp point. Now I can go in here and darken this where it comes about halfway up the body, meaning from the bottom to the top, it's about halfway up. Okay. And now I have that placed just about exactly where this one's placed on this one. Hopefully that makes sense. Did that make sense to everybody? You're using this fin to tell you where this fin goes. And when you learn to draw, and we do stuff that's more advanced when you get like in high school, that's how you draw a lot of things. Like if you're drawing a person's face, you're like, how far is the nose from the mouth? And then you look at how wide the mouth is and where the end of the mouth is, and does that line up with the corner of the eyes if I draw a line straight up? You're always trying to look for relationships of shapes, how one relates to another and where it's placed on the page. So it's more than just learning about a shark, it's learning how to draw, literally, and how these relationships relate to each other. Hopefully that wasn't too tough for everybody. Now, if you got a little skinny fin, what do you got to do? Yeah, the distance from here to here has got to be wider, okay? That's if you got a little skinny fin. If you got a great big wide fin coming clear from over here and clear back here, and it's taking up a gigantic chunk of your shark, you need to put it on a diet. Make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so we got that. We got two of our biggest fins done now. Okay, we have this one and this one. Now we need to do this one. Does this one connect to that one? No, there's space between it. So we got quite a bit of space. This is the back of the fin. This is the front of the fin. It's behind the mouth, behind the nose here, but it is in front of this fin. So when I look at that, I'm looking right here and I'm going, okay, it's about so wide, so about ½ inch to 3/4 of an inch. That's where the back of the fin's going to go. So I'm going to put some space here, and then I'm going to curve a line. Just like this, curve, 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 just like that. That's all I need to do is put a little curve line, nice light curve, not a hard curve. It's lower on the page than this, not by much, but by a little bit. So I got that line, that's the back of the fin. Now the front of the fin, I want to look at how wide this is and go, okay, I want it approximately like that. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to put a little space right there, put a little mark right there, so I'm making sure I'm not getting it too skinny. I'm going to bring this down with a similar curve that gets closer to this one, and then I'm going to round this off too. I don't want it to be pointed. All my fins are rounded off. Now here's the thing. You don't want this to be bigger than that because this is further away. So if this is wider or longer than this fin, you need to make it shorter and skinnier than that fin. Okay, the one that's furthest away is smaller than the one that is closest to you. That's just kind of a rule of thumb. Same goes if that was legs instead of fins, and it's sideways, the leg closest to you would be bigger and longer than the leg further away. What our goal is today is to basically get all the line part of this drawing done, and then we can do the shading part tomorrow, and it will look really cool. Today we're focusing on fins. And I done forgot something on that tail. Is everybody this far, or does anybody need another second? Let me know if you need another second before I jump down to the tail. Okay. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. The what? Just curve that and bring that to it. This needs to be a little wider. That may be a little shorter. Okay. All right, I need to jump back to the tail because I forgot something. See that little notch in the tail on this? I forgot to put that on here. So all we do is we just bring a little line that kind of comes straight out there and then bring it back to the top. Zoop, like that. We're just putting that little notch at the top of the tail. And by the way, anybody want to guess what kind of shark that is? Black tip shark. Very good. There's your clue right there. Right. They have black tips on their dorsal fin and on their pectoral fins, and even back here. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Just get on the video and finish this up because I am recording it. All right, so we have the tail done, we have the two pectoral fins, we have the dorsal fin. Now we'll do all these arbitrary fins. We've got a little fin here, 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 and here. So the next fin, I really like the next fin because it's this one here. What shape is that? Triangles. We like that one because it's very easy to do. So I'll just hold this right here so I can see what I'm doing. So you can see what I'm doing. Come on, get down there. There it is. All right, I'm looking at it and I'm going, okay, here's this fin, here's this fin. I just need to come over here a little ways, get some space between it. And all I got to do is draw one line and then another line going back and making kind of an equilateral triangle is what I'm doing. Pretty close to just equilateral. So that's an easy one. There's going to be a screwy one right here, but we'll do that one last. We'll go down and do these two before because they're not that hard, and then we'll do the screwy one last. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to leave that screwy one off of this one. I've been looking at those sharks, and I can't find that. That was off another drawing, and that's the trouble when you look at somebody else's artwork. Sometimes they make mistakes. So we're going to leave this one off. I'm not going to worry about that. So let's go down here and do this one. So now we're going to come down here close to the tail. So I'll move this down. I want some space between here and here and here and here. So I'm coming back, and I'm just going to make a slight curved line. And then I'm going to go straight below that and make another slight curved line. That line didn't curve enough, so I'm going to curve it a little more. Like that. So it's like I'm drawing a circle, but I just don't draw the line between. Then I'll come over a ways, come up towards it, come over a ways, come up towards it. And what am I going to do now? I'm going to round it off. When I'm done, I have those two fins, and they're just rounded off V shapes that are kind of blowing in the wind. Like that's a V blowing that way across the page. Now at this point, I have all my fins drawn, and I have my body shape on there. So at this point now, this is when we do this. Now I can come in here, I can darken this line right here. I'm not going to draw it through the dorsal fin. There's no reason to. Come Come down here, and I'm going to darken it going all the way down here. Don't draw it through the fin again. Just come down here, bring it up the tail. This will make it all easier to see in the end. And this doesn't have to be super dark black. We don't need to go with like two hands and really overwork our pencil, but we're just trying to darken the line so it's easy for us to see. Alright, so now I have a pretty good outline of a shark. There is a place I need to erase a line though. And you probably all will need to erase a line there too. I'll wait just a second to point that out. Just wait till you get this done. So you don't need to draw the lines through those fins. If you did, it's not the end of the world. It's okay, because we're just going to do some shading around there anyway. But this fin should not have a line going through it right there. So that we need to erase, because that's closest to us, and it's not an invisible fin that you can see through. This fin has a line because it's behind the body. This one's in front of the body. I'm giving you just a second to get caught up here. Oh my goodness, come on, Adams. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the eyes, the mouth, and the nose on it. So I'm going to turn it this way now. So everybody turn this vertical. Okay, sharks tend to have kind of, it looks like kind of a frowny face. We're going to come up here. I'm not going to put it up here, or he's not, oops, I'm not going to put it up here. He's not going to have room for his nose. I'm not going to put it clear back here because that's like having your mouth come out of your chest. I'm going to put it kind of halfway between these two places. And I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to curve up like a U shape and bring it back, just like that. It's an upside down U. Don't bring it way up over here, or you're going to bring your mouth up into your eyeball. Okay? It doesn't even get up to halfway. Like if this was halfway, it's below halfway. Just a nice curve. Don't make it a V, don't make it a W, don't make it some other letter, just an upside down U. Just whoop, that's all it is. So what I guess I'm saying is don't make that harder than it is. And now I'm really going to zoom in on it. Because he needs to be able to breathe, he needs a nostril, and I'm going to make a number 6. And I'm going to put that right up in here. So I'm going to go number 6. Backwards and not connected. So when I hold that up, see how that, whoop, come on, get in there. See how it doesn't connect? It's just a little number 6, a backwards 6. And while I have this like this, still vertical in front of me, I'm going to come above my mouth, or to the right of my mouth, with it being sideways. Come to the right of my mouth, and I'm going to make a circle. Okay, it's not a great big circle, but it's bigger than the nose hole. Okay. Boop.
Pardon the interruption. Can I have these students come to Mr. Albrecht's classroom do my house team meeting? Gracie Yardley, Huey Carter, Zoe Yardley, Evie Henderson, Marshall Williams, and Braylee Carter. Come to Mr. Albrecht's classroom. Thank you.
Okay, here's the next thing. I'm going to put just a little half circle right here. And what I want is to have just a little tiny space inside that circle here focused. There it goes. Ding. All right, I just want a little bit of white back here. I'm going to end up coloring this part black. I want just a little bit of white. What it looks like is he's looking forward, okay? So if he's going this way, he's looking ahead. That's the whole idea behind that. And then we're going to put a little set of parentheses on either side. Very small, the same angle as the edge of our circle. Just draw this light and very close to it. What it is, it's a little ridge that forms around the eye. Okay, so you just put like a little set of parentheses around it. Don't make it anything harder than that. Now, those of you that know a little bit about sharks, how do they breathe? Okay, you're correct. It is gills, just like all fish. Most fish have a couple of gills. What about sharks? They have multiple gills. They have sometimes between 4 and 6, or might even be more, some that have more than 6. But in the case of a black tip, he has 5, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did check this back when I was getting my reference stuff on it. However, we're not going to draw those gills right now. We're going to do those after we do all the shading, because we don't want to come across here and smear those gills. That's why we're not going to draw them right now. What we are going to do is see that black tip here, the white strip, and the black here, and the black here, and the black here, and here, and here, and here. We're going to do that part. So let's do this fin up here first, and it's just kind of like the Pepsi swirl. If you look at a Pepsi can, and it's a letter S kind of shape, comes down and comes back. So if I turn it this way, it's like the letter S. Here's an S. It's just stretched out. Okay? And then I'm going to repeat that same line, a parallel line that goes just like it underneath it. So there's a little space. When I turn it this way, it's laying down sideways this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this vertical like this, and I'm going to do something that looks a little bit like a Nike swoosh. I'm going to start on this side of the fin and get over to this side. So I'm going to start right here, curve it down, and then bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, until it gets like right there to the body, okay? So it gets skinny, skinny, skinnier until it comes to a point right at the body. Just like a Nike swoosh. So that's what you should be thinking design-wise. Something that looks a little bit like a check mark, kind of rounded off like the swoosh. If you got something else, you done did it wrong. And we had so much fun doing that on that fin, we're going to do another one on this fin right here. Same thing. Come down, get it going up this side, parallel, 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 and then as it gets to the point, okay, it ends right there, gets skinny and ends at the point. Okay, so wide to skinny. So we got 2 Nike swooshes and a Pepsi logo. So we're getting all kinds of advertisement going on here. That shark probably wishes it could get the endorsements from all of it. All right, no endorsements here. We're just going to go make a parallel line to our little triangle. Goes down and goes back up. And that's all there is to it. Just 2 little lines that parallel our original one on the inside of our triangle. Now hopefully nobody messes that up, because that's about as easy as it gets, because you already drew it once. I'm just asking you to draw it smaller again. Anybody want to guess what the shape's going to be like on these 2? Okay, we got swooshes, Pepsi, parallel lines. What do you think is going to be on these 2? What? Oh man, I like the way you think. I am more of a Coca-Cola guy than I am a Pepsi guy, but it's going to be more like the Nike swoosh. So we're going to come right here and then bring it down narrow as we get to the body. So there again, we got our little Nike swoosh. Do that there, and we're going to do it on here too. And now I want a Coke, thanks. Maybe I'll have to go get one after work. So a couple more swooshes. And we're going to do another swoosh, because we just like swooshing today. It's kind of the theme of the day. It's a swoosh day. So we're going to take this swoosh, and we're going to start right here on the tail, on that side. And then we're going to come over near the tail, and then we're going to follow it all the way up. And it's not going to come to a point this time. We're just following it all the way up, doing a parallel line. And then we're going to come up and follow that line. And then we're going to come up and follow that line. Makes a little chair stair step right there. So basically all we're doing is we're coming inside here and we're just making a parallel line on the inside from here to here. Going along there and then doot doot, just like that. Now here's the easy part, folks. I'm going to come in this eye and I'm going to color it in black. I'm not even going to leave a shine on it. Coloring in the part that's looking forward. I did not color in the little white part behind it. After I get the eye done, I'm going to come down here and make my little swoosh black. Now remember how we do these. We go around the outer edge first. Whenever we're going to make something black, we get the border done first. Then we just have to fill in the interior afterwards. That way we don't get rough looking borders. So we do that with that one. We'll come to the next fin, do the same thing. Okay, I'll help you. Okay. Oh, so all you need is just right here. And it looks like you got everything else that's there. I'm just following your line. Okay. There you go. Yep. Okay, so we have 2 fins. Then I'm going to come up here to the top of this fin, and this is the whole reason it's called a black-tip shark. We're just going to do the tippy top of that dorsal fin. If we do this right, we'll have all our fins ready to go, and then tomorrow all we got to do is shade, and that will be nice. So I got that one. Then I'm going to come down here. This is an easy one because we're just doing straight lines. We're just going to fill that in black. And I think you got the idea now. Everywhere that we drew swooshes, everywhere that we drew little parallel lines, we're just making them black now. And then the tail, it's the same thing. So when I'm all done with my little Sharky shark, got all those black tips on all those fins, including the tail fin. Okay, so the tail is a fin. That's as far as we're going to go on this thing today. So once you get those all filled in black, you can go ahead and put that on the